Dear members of media part of the biathlon family, first of all, we would like to apologize for the delay. President and the IBU Executive Board first informed the athletes as the most vital part of the biathlon family about the decision taken today by IBU Executive Board following the IOC decision taken on 5th of December regarding the ban of Russian Olympic Committee from Pyeongchang Olympic Games and creating a clean path for clean athletes to participate at those Olympic Games. We will start this conference with President reading the decisions the Executive Board took today. Next to the President, just to introduce, is Dr. Stefan Nitzle, is external legal expert to the IBU, himself an ex-world-class athlete and one of the most respected legal experts in the field of sport. President, please.
Thank you. And I can just shortly add for your information.
Thank you.
I can also shortly add that Mr. Nestle, he is also an advisor for the International Ski Federation. He was also an advisor for the International Athletic Association. So we are very glad to have him as our advisor. I wish you welcome to this press conference. We have to excuse that the meeting with the athletes took a bit longer time. It was a very short time, as you understand, after the women relay. So it took a bit longer time than what we had planned, but now we are ready to meet you. And we have today taken the following decisions. What I'm reading for you now will be handed out to you in writing as you are leaving the room, and of course it will be placed on our website. The IBU Executive Board accepts the decision of the IOC Executive Board dated 5th December 2017 and agreed to implement it in time. The IBU Executive Board decided to reinstate the working group and add external expertise. We are, to comment it, already having external expertise, because it's no secret that this Swiss lawyer has been the chairman of the working group we have had till today, and he will continue, but we are also have decided, if it's necessary, we will extend this expertise group with more external expertise if we need it. As a consequence of the substantial number of doping convictions in the recent past, the IOC verdicts against the 3 Russian biathletes who were found guilty of an anti-doping rule violation at the Olympic Winter Games 2014, and the substantial number of athletes still suspicious of having been part of or profited from the Russian doping conspiracy, which caused great damage to the sport of biathlon and the reputation of the International Biathlon Union. And in order to encourage the Russian Biathlon Union to become more active in the fight against doping, to assist in the discovery of any doping manipulations in Russia, and to enforce strict compliance with the applicable anti-doping rules and policies, the IBU Executive Board herewith relegates the Russian Biathlon Union to provisional membership according to Article 1612 in our Constitution, with the limited membership rights as set out in Article 15 of our Constitution. The IBU Executive Board will review the reinstitution of the Russian Biathlon Union to full membership at a later date, but not before the end of the 2017-2018 competition season, subject to the following competitions. A, the IOC has lifted the suspension on the Russian Olympic Committee. B, no adverse analytical findings or other anti-doping rule violations of Russian biathletes committed after the 1st of January 2017 have been reported. C. The RBU fully cooperates with any investigation or of any alleged anti-doping rule violations in the context of and the involvement of officials in the alleged doping conspiracy that was described by the independent person report, Dr. Rodchenko's affidavits and the IOC Disciplinary Commission. This means in practice the SMED Commission. The IBU Executive Board may, at its sole discretion, decide to extend the provisional membership if it deems that the above conditions have not been met. The IBU Executive Board is following the development very closely and reserves the right to take further measures against the Russian Biathlon Union or any individuals as a consequence of further results of the ongoing investigations. Then I leave the floor free for questions.
Jan Sukan from Czech Radio. Mr. President, I would like to ask you, what does it mean that the Russian Biathlon Union doesn't have a full membership? What are the consequences of this?
It means, in practice, they have no right to vote at our Congress. It means they have no right to bring motions to our Congress. They have no right to propose persons for election at our Congress. That is the three main things.
Any more questions? Yeah.
What is your position on the participation of individual Russian athletes who might petition directly to the IOC to compete at the 2018 Games?
Do I understand the question right? The opening IOC has made for individual Russian athletes to take part. I think personally this is in full compliance with what is the willing and what the athlete wish, that clean athletes should have the possibility, and that it should not be a general punishment which also includes really clean athletes. And let me here add, I think most of you probably have been reading it also the right way. We as the International Biathlon Union, we have no influence on this. It's not the same system as by the Rio Olympic Games. We are not involved. There are two commissions appointed, independent commissions appointed by the IOC Executive Board, who will invite those athletes according to special criteria, as you probably have seen from the press release.
Dmitry Zanin, Match TV. Should be afraid about the World Cup in Tumen? It could be cancelled or it will be provided?
Our legal expert will answer this question to explain the situation.
The IBU Executive Board looked at this issue, of course, because it was discussed before, and decided for the time being not to remove any competitions that have been awarded to Russia already, because of mainly two reasons. The first one is these three competitions that are on the calendar, which can take place in Russia, they are at the end of the season. It is the clear intention of the IOC, as they have written and also said, to bring Russia back to the family of sports as soon as possible after the Olympic Games. So these competitions would fall in a phase if ideally Russia would be back in the family of sports. The second point is the the executive board looked at the materials and all these reports and looked for to what extent the RBU was directly attacked or accused of having been a part of this conspiracy. And none of these reports give any indication, neither McLaren report nor the report by the Schmidt Commission, that actually national federations have been involved. But however, the IBU does not simply sit back and wait and see what happens. If there are new developments, and we are not just waiting, but looking actively into the matter, that may affect this decision. So, for instance, if there are new developments which show that the RBU was in fact active part of this conspiracy, then of course the executive board is ready to meet and to on short notice and to review whether it's still appropriate to have these events in Russia. But for the time being, there is no decision to withdraw them.
To that point that you just raised, what is your response to the implication of the current RBU president by Grigory Rodchenkov? According to his account in the affidavits which you mentioned, he spoke about the doping program with Mr. Kravtsov.
I think our press release, as I was reading for you, is taking care of this. We are having a commission in work with experts, and the investigations are going on. And of course, when this commission with experts are advising the executive board to take decisions, then we will of course take decisions. But today we are not having it on our table. We know also about this situation, but here we need some more investigations.
I'm sorry. I have one more question related to the first thing I had asked, which is, you said that the IOC panel that is reviewing the eligibility of individual athletes for Pyeongchang would make its decisions. Does the IBU plan to look at or scrutinize individuals who apply to the IOC, or are you saying those individuals will apply to the IOC and the IBU will not review those individual applications at all?
I can only say that we are promised in the coming days to have more details from the IOC about this. Today we are not having any details telling us in what way or if we at all will be involved in this process. We only know the same as you are knowing, but we are promised to have some more information in the coming days.
Do you want to be involved?
With the experience from Rio, I think, as personal opinion, I'm very happy that we are not involved, because it caused also a lot of unnecessary discussions, according to my opinion. It's better that one panel is evaluating this on absolutely the same criteria for all athletes from all the different sports. In Winter Olympics, it's not so many involved, but I think this is the right, so that all athletes, either they are coming from biathlon, from bobsleigh or skiing, that they are treated absolutely the same way by one panel.
Any more questions? Good. No.
Okay, then I...
One more.
Artem Kuznetsov, the Tasnis Agency. I would like to ask about quotas of Russian team for the World Cup. Is it cut or not? I mean, has IBU cut the quotas for the competitions?
It does not surprise me that this question is coming because not everybody are familiar with how those rules are functioning. But the rule we decided, the new rule, where we have the possibility to cut down quotas of national federations according to anti-doping rule violations, it was decided on the 17th of November this year, and they are coming into effect from that day. And what we are talking about here was things happening in a period, let me say, roughly from 2010-11 till 2014, and there the old rules will apply. So what we have mentioned for you here and are reporting on here is anti-doping rule violations and so on, which happened according to the old rules, to say it way. So it's the date of when the offenses took place. That's the date for the rules we are using. But if there is an offense at this World Cup here in Hofhilsen, then the new rules will be exercised.
One more question.
I have one more question. What can you say about the reaction of the teams and the athletes? Was it just an information from your side, or has there been a discussion now, just now?
About the team members meeting, how was the reaction?
Yeah. No, I must say I was very happy. We did not have that many teams on the meeting as I had expected, but there was, you can say, some questions from the athletes, and of course we were answering the questions the same way as we are answering you. So I will say it was, I think it's very important that we are having information meetings with those who are in the center of our activity, the athletes. So we choose, of course, to take this before we go to you. And there is also no secret that we, the international federations, we were informed by the IOC about their decision before it was given on the press conference. So this was just a normal procedure, to say it that way.
And one more question. Could you say who will be included in this working group from IBU?
The executive board will decide upon it. It depends what experts we need for the different cases.
Any more?
But I can tell you, Mr. Stefan Netzler, as I personally, I'm very happy that we are having this advisor. As I told you at the beginning, he is advisor of the FIS, sitting with some of the same problems as us. He has the experience from the International Athletic Federation with their problems, let me say, 2 years ago. And he has been the chairman of our commission up till today, and he has accepted to continue as our chairman. But depending on the cases, the working load and everything, we, the executive board, has given, you can say, the fullmakt. I don't know English word. We have given the power to the General Secretary to hire the necessary experts to join this working group.
Anybody else?
Mr. Besseberg, I have one more question. I would like to ask about Wolfgang Pichler. As you know, the IOC has decided to refuse to invite any coaches who was involved in the anti-doping violations. And as you know, Wolfgang was the coach of the Russian national team, and now he could miss the upcoming Olympics. What do you think about this situation?
You know what the press release and decision from IOC is saying, and it's the IOC who are inviting and accrediting the people. It's not our task, so I have no comment to it.
Alexander Kruglov, championat.com. Question to Mr. Besseberg. I want to ask about work in executive board of Viktor Maygorov. Is he still first vice president of IBU and will work this committee?
Yes, Mr. Viktor Maygorov is still the first vice president of the IBU executive board. Okay.
If there is no questions, thank you for the attention. Thank you for waiting for us. We conclude this press conference.
And I take unofficially the opportunity to thank you for the good work and important work you are doing for our dear sport, the sport of biathlon. And I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.